Hello everyone, I am Dr. Manas Kumar Das, Director, Orlean College of Pharmacy. Today we will start the subject pathophysiology. The code is BP204T, branch pharmacy. Today's topic is introduction, definition, homeostasis, components and types of feedback system. So, in the beginning we will see about the contents. So, today's contents are introduction to pathophysiology, definitions, homeostasis, components to the system, types of feedback mechanism, negative feedback system and positive feedback system. So, in today's lecture we will discuss about all these topics. So, first come to the introduction to pathophysiology. So, first we should know what is pathophysiology. So, in the terminology, the pathophysiology is a combination of pathology with physiology. So, this is a combination of both the subjects. Which subjects? Pathology and physiology. It is the study of the altered physiological processes that cause, result from or are otherwise associated with a disease or injury. This terms pathophysiology. So, what we learned? The pathophysiology is a combination of two terminology, pathology and physiology. So, first we will study pathology. Pathology is the medical discipline that describes conditions typically observed during a disease state. So, when there is a disease, some changes, some conditions will generate which will be observed. So, in medical terminology it is called the pathology. It is a discipline of medical science. Whereas, physiology, as we already studied in last semester, physiology, anatomy and physiology. So, physiology is the biological discipline that describes process or mechanisms operating within a organism. Within a organism means a living organism. So, there are various type of process, various type of mechanisms, always it is happening inside a living organ, inside a living body, that altogether is called physiology. So, now we know what is physiology and pathology. Pathology describes the abnormal or undesired condition, whereas pathophysiology seeks to explain the financial changes that are occurring within an individual due to a disease or pathologic state. So, what is the difference? Pathology is the abnormal or undesired condition. So, that terms pathology, and pathophysiology, it describes the functional changes. So, what are the normal functions which are changed due to some abnormal or undesired condition that is occurring inside a living individual when a disease is in progress, that is pathophysiology. Suppose a person is having fever. So, that is the pathology, but why it is fever? There are so many changes may be happened inside the living organism, maybe some infection, maybe some other injury. So, these all things we will study in the pathophysiology. We should also know different kinds of definitions before proceeding to the core subject pathophysiology. We should know biochemistry. that is a very common terminology we use in medical science, in biological science, biochemistry. So, it is the branch of science that explains the all chemical processes happens inside the body. It combines biology and chemistry. That is why the name is given as biochemistry. In pathological conditions, different biochemical processes are changed. Biochemical process in the sense like glycolysis, glucose synthesis, these all things are biological process happens inside a living organ. So, these processes may be altered in different pathological conditions. So, if we study pathology, we should also know the biochemistry, then only we can know about the changes of the biochemistry inside our living body. Next definition come to the pathological anatomy. That is a mix of pathology and anatomy. As you already studied anatomy in previous semester. So, you know the anatomy means the structure that may be micro, that may be micro, structural study of a living substance is called anatomy. That may be the anatomy of different organs, that may be the anatomy of a different tissues. So, the study may be ultrastructural, means the inside what is happening inside the cell, and the macrostructural, in overall what are the things happening. In pathological anatomy, we study the ultrastructural and macrostructural changes under pathological conditions. What is the helping process of this study? This study will help to understand functional changes. Functional changes means, suppose our body part is working for a certain purpose. So, what are the changes happening and what are the macro and microstructural changes happened inside our body. Next come to the microbiology and immunology. So, microbiology is a study of microbes that we know, and immunology is the study of our immune system, but in pathological description it helps to understand the mechanisms involved in development of disease caused mainly by pathogenic microorganisms and disorders of immune system. Pathogenic microorganisms may be pathogenic or may be non-pathogenic. All microbes are not harmful, but which microorganisms which are harmful to our human body, that we must study in the microbiology, because that microorganisms harm in different areas, different organs, different tissues of our body. So, that it can cause different kinds of diseases. So, to know the disease, to know the cause of the disease, to know the etiology of the disease, we should know the microbiology. What is the reason behind the disease? And the disorders of immune system. Our immune system is also responsible for various kinds of disease. So, we should also know our immune system. Next, this is a very important term in pathophysiology, etiology. Etiology is actually a cause or origin of disease. In this terminology, it describes, it is a branch of medical science dealing with causes and organs of disease. So, etiology means the cause, it means the cause and origin of the disease, how the disease has occurred. Like I told you earlier, like fever, like hypertension, like diabetes. So, there are maybe some other reasons which is not visible from outside. So, you have to find out the disease. Fever is the expression, but the reason may be some infection, maybe it from microbial, maybe it from mechanical injury. Diabetes is a disease, reason may be some insulin related problem or some other related problems. So, we have to find out the actual cause and the origin of the disease. This is etiology. Next come to the pathogenesis. Pathogenesis means the gradual development of a disease and the chain of events leading to disease in response to etiologic factors. So, pathogenesis, it generally the disease progress, how the disease is progressing, how the disease is gradually developing, and what are the different chain of events, what are the different stages of this disease happening inside a living organ. This is a pathogenesis. So, when we write a answer of a question of pathophysiology of any disease, we must include these things like etiology, the cause and origin of the disease, like your pathogenesis, how the disease is progressing, how the things is changing inside the living organs. Then only we can know the actual facts or disease causes inside our body. Next definition is clinical manifestations. Clinical manifestations, these are always there are observable symptoms by which a disease may be diagnosed by a practitioner. Practitioner means registered medical practitioner. Clinical presentations are the whole package of the disease process, including epidemiology, history of the disease, physical examination and laboratory testing. Like in the terminology you can find out. So, how a clinical manifestations can be useful, like whole package of the disease process, including epidemiology. Suppose a disease is prevalent in a certain area, suppose it is a time of flu in India. So, a person is showing the symptoms of a flu, the registered medical practitioner can recognize this is a flu patient. History of the patient, if suppose a patient is having some history of convulsion or any disease, if the person is again showing such type of symptoms, the doctor can say he is a convulsion patient. Like physical examination, like seeing the color of the skin, color of the eye, a doctor can identify the person is suffering from jaundice or not. It will be pale or dull color, red color will be minimum. And the laboratory testing, that you all know, different kind of parameters doctors write to confirm a certain disease, like different kind of blood test, stool examination, urine examination, X-ray, MRI, CT scan, these all comes under the laboratory testings. So, these all are required to establish a disease. Now, come to the very interesting part, homeostasis. See, our body is always maintaining a homeostatic nature inside a body. When there are changes in the environment, outside environment, in the early stage body always try to neutralize the changes, try to maintain the homeostasis inside the body. So, what is homeostasis? A condition in which the internal environment of the body remains relatively constant despite changes in the external environment. Suppose in the external environment in the summer season, it is about 45 degree centigrade, but our body temperature is about 37 degree centigrade. So, body will always try to its own homeostasis process to maintain the body temperature as 37 degree centigrade. Any system in dynamic equilibrium tends to reach a steady state, a balance that resists outside forces of changes. When such a system is disturbed, built-in regulatory devices respond to the departures to establish a new balance. New balance is homeostasis. Such a process is one of feedback control. All process of integration and coordination of function, whether mediated by electrical circuits or by nervous and hormonal systems, are examples of homeostatic regulation. Homeostasis is achieved through negative or positive feedback mechanisms. So, what we can get from this slide is our body is always trying, will always try to maintain the normal condition inside our body up to a certain extent. Suppose just like I told you, when the temperature is higher outside, but still our body temperature remains around 37 degree centigrade. But suppose a person is having fever, so that time body cannot control due to the homeostasis of its own body. Then we have to take some medicines, we have to take some external things to reduce the temperature. Same things happen in the cold weather. Body up to certain extent, body control the temperature due to its homeostasis process. So, body always resists the external things, external atmosphere, external environment, and maintain the homeostasis. This is very important for this topic, the components of the feedback system. There are basically three components, three major components of a feedback system. Sensor, which detects the stress, stress means whatever the changes happening outside the body. The control center, which receives information from the sensor and sends a message to the effector. So, control center will receive the message from the sensor and it will process this one and send the message to the effector. So, third one is effector, which receives the message from the control center and produces the response which establishes homeostasis. Means the effector is the end component of the homeostatic system. It will only carry the message from the control center and produce the response which will establish the homeostasis again. So, there is a graphical presentation of the homeostasis. So, homeostasis helps the body maintain a state internal environment, like these are the centers, receptors, control center and effector. So, receptor will take the sense from here, this is the end point, like here it is showing the skin. So, that will send to the control center, this is the brain, and control center will pass the message or response in the effector. Effector is this one, and the response will help to establish the homeostasis. So, these are the three main components: receptor, control center and effector. Next comes to the types of feedback mechanism. So, I told you already that there are two types of feedback mechanism, negative feedback and positive feedback mechanism. So, negative means it will work in the opposite directions. It includes most homeostatic control mechanisms like shuts off the original stimulus or reduce its intensity, works like a household thermostat. I think you all know the thermostat. Thermostat regulate the temperature. So, whatever the temperature will fix, it will produce the same temperature. So, by the negative feedback mechanism, we can also get the same temperature in the body. Like example of the negative feedback mechanism is control of blood pressure and body temperature regulations. So, like I told you, if the outer condition is so hot, but still our body is able to maintain the temperature around 37 degree centigrade. So, how? Because it is acting in the opposite direction, outside is higher, but body has to maintain lower temperature. So, the working dimensions is in opposite direction. Now, come to the positive feedback. So, increase the original stimulus to push the variable further. Example is increase in oxytocin release during the birth of a baby. So, it is you have to listen this one carefully. Positive feedback. Positive means already it is the stimulus is there, but we need more stimulus, we need more secretions. Like the example is giving the oxytocin release. Oxytocin is a hormone which is released from the posterior pituitary. So, and the function of oxytocin is the contraction of the uterus, which is required, which is the most required part during the childbirth. So, when the normal delivery of a baby happens, the oxytocin level remains too high. So, that it contract the uterus and the head of the baby comes out. So, suppose it is already high during the time of delivery, but we need more. So, the body is working in the same direction. So, that is why it is called the positive feedback mechanism. So, this is the negative feedback mechanism. So, you can see the phases of negative feedback mechanism: stimulus, sensor, control and effector, which we already studied here. The example of negative: body temperature when it exceeds 37 degree centigrade, 37 degree centigrade is our normal body temperature. Nerve cells in the skin, it detects, then it sends the response through the sensory nerves to the control center. Control center is in the brain. So, temperature regulatory center in brain gets stimulated from the nerve impulse coming through the skin, that environmental temperature is high or low. So, we have to maintain the body temperature. Then it process which one? The control center, which is a temperature regulatory center in the brain, that will process and that will send the response to the effector organ. Effector organs or parts, which are the parts like sweat glands. Throughout the body we are having sweat glands. When the sweat glands will be stimulated, it will increase the sweating. So, what is the effect of sweating? Sweating will decrease the body temperature due to the evaporation of the sweat. So, like this process, body always try to maintain the homeostasis up to a certain extent. Now, come to the last one, positive feedback system. So, that is the childbirth process. So, child push the cervix, which is stimulus, to the brain, and brain give the signal to the pituitary gland to release more oxytocin. When the more oxytocin will be released, the it will stimulate the uterus to contract more and more, and the baby pushes outside the body. Like this way, the delivery process continues until unless the baby comes out through from the body. So, that is the circle given here. So, this is the cycle. So, this is the first one, head of the baby pushes against cervix. So, this is the stimulus, then nerve impulse from cervix transmitted to brain. So, it will give the transmission to the brain to release oxytocin from the pituitary gland. So, it will stimulate the posterior pituitary gland to secrete more oxytocin, and the more oxytocin will carried in the bloodstream to the uterus, because the target point is uterus. So, in uterus it will stimulate the uterine contraction more and more and pushes the baby towards cervix. So, this is the normal delivery process of a baby, which happens only because of the positive feedback mechanism. So, these two things we have to know very carefully, the negative feedback mechanism and the positive feedback mechanism. Negative means it will work, it means body, our body will work in opposite direction. When the environment is in positive, like higher temperature, body will try to maintain the reduce the temperature and maintain the homeostasis in 37 degree centigrade. Suppose in the winter time the environment temperature is too cold, but still our body temperature is 37 degree centigrade. How? Because here also body is working in a opposite direction. It is cold outside, but body will try to maintain the homeostasis. That time all the sweatings and everything will be closed, stopped, so that body can maintain the homeostasis. And in the positive, the body works in the same direction, so that the more and more secretion of oxytocin happens and the birth of the baby can be possible. So, this is the example of positive feedback mechanism. Thank you.